Shalom, shalom, and we back, and I'm trying to get this chapter, but this my tablet is so old. Come on, enough with these commercials. These commercials are killing me. They're everywhere, bro. Yeah, come on, man. Move this commercial to the side, baby. So in the next life, they would be poor, they would be broke, but unfortunately right now, it's happening now, in this time. Come on, man, this shit killing me, bro. What's with these fucking commercials and shit, man? And they still force me to watch this ugly ass commercial, bro. But yeah, man, they are losing their power, they losing their gain, and the Israelites are gaining the momentum. You know, they multiplying, they covering everything. You know, they starting to come up in America, and not only just in money, but in power as well. And right now, you know, the Edomites are starting to become the minority, not in just America, but worldwide. So this is very concerning to the elites, and they want to do something about it. It's that simple. Even though they can care less about their own people, as far as we know it. Come on, get out of this. What the fuck is wrong with this shit? Move. Skip. Yeah. It says right here, it says, yet thou shalt be brought down to hell to the sides of the pit. It says, they that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee and consider thee, saying, is this the man that made the earth tremble, that did shake the kingdoms? It says, that made the world a wilderness and destroyed the cities thereof, that opened not because and that opened not the house of his prisoners. Right. So he doesn't really want to let the Israelites go. He wants to destroy them. That's what he wants to do. So, but this is what's going to happen. This was making them so jealous. This is what's going to terrify a lot of the people when they see these prophecies become extremely vivid, you know, real, you know, manifest. So it says, for the Lord, it says, Isaiah chapter 14, verse 1, it says, for the Lord will have mercy on Jacob and will yet choose Israel and set them in their own land, and the strangers shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob. So right now, everybody wants to be black. Everybody wants to say N-word. Everybody wants to have the hood attire, have the struggle style that the Israelites got. They want their hair. They want their image. They want their skin complexion. Everybody tries to mimic the Israelites in their styles and everything that they do. And like they said, the black people are the most dominant people on the earth, and that is true. And not just black, but you know, the Negroes, Mexicans, the Indians. I'm talking about all of them as a whole. They all black people. They all Israelites. Israel, it says, for the portion of Jacob is not like them, for he is the former of all things, you know. So he's the one that originally created everything, the original, the style, the salt of the earth. So it says, and the people shall take them and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel shall possess them in the lands of Yahweh for servants and handmaids, meaning that the same people that ruled over us and attacked us and wouldn't stop. They tortured the Israelites day and night and day. They gonna find themselves being tortured. They gonna find themselves being in straits and working all day, all night, because the elites, they just start shit. They do evil, you know. they don't really have to work. Some of them really don't have to do nothing at all. They sign papers, they approve things, or whatever they do. Like on the surface wise, when it comes to a lot of the rich people, a good majority of them don't work. They don't do shit. When they hit that millions, they ain't got to do shit but keep their businesses running. Hire a couple of people, keep the job running, take over companies, do it like that. Or they can sell their company off and then retire, and then they could just sit on their ass for the rest of their life. So they didn't really have to do much. Now, when you go down to the rulers, which are today, we the ones that's struggling to make ends meet. We are fighting to stay alive every day. We got to go to work constantly. Some of us lived in this time of our life, lived in their time, and they had to work every day until they died, until they died, bro. At least in this time, for those of us that's still alive, we're going to see these events and these things happen. And we at the point of liberation, and we ain't going to have to work. We ain't going to have to do nothing one day. And like they said, this is the stupidest thing ever. For the Mark of the Beast program, nigga, I ain't going to want to come back and go back to work and get a job and slave under this white man and keep what I got and go back to this system. I would rather be with the Lord and be homeless and wait till Yahweh Shem Yahushai come and survive the way I survived, man. I ain't coming back. Once this system break down and it set the Israelites free, our job is not to come back. And that's the easy choice that I'm willing to make, So it says, and it shall come to pass in the day that Yahweh shall give thee rest from thy sorrow and from thy fear and from the hard bondage wherein thou was made to serve. So, like I said, the liberation is coming. The freedom is coming, and this is not ordinary freedom. This is true freedom. So the collapse of the dollar, the race wars, martial law, the fucking collapse of America, that's going to be the true liberation. Because when this shit fall and all this shit fall down, it's not going to come back up again. The only way they're going to try to revive it is with the New World Order and the Mark of the Beast. And that shit's not going to work. That's why they're going to try to force it on everybody. That's the hour of temptation. And a lot of people is going to take it due to them being afraid of poverty and no belief and no faith in Yahweh Shem Yahushai. And them being captured and trying to be forced to take it through torture and extortion and all kinds of other ugly ways that this white man is going to try to capture us. So when you know these certain things, it's just said that when this shit collapse and the Lord tell you to get out of Dodge, you get out of Dodge and you don't come back. And prepare yourself with some food or whatever, but then when it's time to hit the road, you hit the road. And wherever you go, whatever the Lord take you, that's where the Lord take you. So it says, thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon and say, how hath the oppressor seized the golden city? So America is the golden city, and now it's finally coming to an end. It's finally stopping. It's on the verge of being shut down. The white people shutting this shit down on their own. So it says, Yahweh have broken the staff of the wicked and the scepter of the rulers. He who smote the people in wrath with a continual stroke, he that ruled the nations in anger and persecuted and none hindered. Right, he even oppressed his own people. These elites and these secret societies oppress their own people. And like I said, if they were, this is how it is. This is how much money the elites got. They got so much money they can end poverty. That's how much money they got. They got so much money they can revive America if they wanted to. They can bring all the nations together if they wanted to. They can make everybody rich, down to the last bum, down to the crackheads and all of that. They can make them eternally rich. That's how much money they got, but they don't want to do that. For one, it's a part of the balance, and for two, they just don't want to do that. They don't, because they feel like it's not enough to go around for everybody. When they got liquidation, they don't even use fucking money no more. They use data and they use gold. They ain't used no paper dollar in a long time. These elites don't even use paper dollars. All their money is transferred through technology, or when it comes down to it, trade, which is gold dollar plates, nigga. They don't even use paper dollars like we do no more. They been got rid of that. They just want us to get rid of it. They at that point to where they want to do away with the dollar now too, and put us on a digital income to where they can determine and control what we get. So it says, and none hinder him. Nobody can stop him. The only one that can stop him is the Lord at this point. So it says the whole earth is at rest and quiet, and they break forth into singing. It says, yeah, the fir trees rejoice at thee, and the cedars of Lebanon say, since thou art laid down, no hewer has come up against us. That's right. So it's talking about that lumberman, and that lumberman will cut and destroy the trees down. These trees represent people, you know, in different nations, in different families, you know, and that's exactly what was happening. So when the Israelites see that this nation has collapsed, and that the people that oppressed them is no more, they're going to break forth into singing. And that's for those of us that are, you know, chosen to survive this event, because the race wars and the things that's coming is going to be so massive, it's going to take out millions of people. Millions of our people. It says, yeah, the fir tree, no, it says, hell from beneath is moved for thee to meet thee at thy coming. It stirred up the dead for thee, even all the chief ones of the earth. It has raised up from their thrones all the kings of the nations. And that's for the rest of the nations that wasn't royalty like America did. They didn't come up like America did, you know. So the third world countries that never came up, you know, or even the other countries that never had this kind of power that's fighting over, you know, world domination and the throne, you know, to control the world next, you know, they gonna fall and they gonna be destroyed. They gonna be in poverty, you know, because of the dollar and all that. And then the next thing you know, in the next life, you know, next thing you know, the white man is gonna be down there, and the people that he oppressed, the people that he destroyed of his own people, they gonna be excited and happy that he's there. He gonna be a bum. He gonna be a slave. He gonna be nothing too. You know, that's what's happening to these elites. Like I said in that story about the inheritance, you know, we can say that the spirit is the spirit is the spirit of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai that's coming to collect that debt, you know, and one of them debts is a blood debt, you know. So if these riots and all these race wars trigger off, the hammer is going to come down on the sword, you know. It's going to clash against the sword. It's going to break the sword, you know. So they're going to have to pull in martial law and other nations from across the map of the world to come and join this fight, because there's going to be too many of them dying against the children of Israel. It's going to be bad. It's going to be bloody as hell, like never before. So it says, all they shall speak and say unto thee, art thou also become as weak as the, it says, as weak as we, it says, art thou become weak like unto us. So it says, thy pomp is brought down to the grave, and the noise of thy boils. It says, the worm is spread under thee, and the worms cover thee. And all of this is poverty. Poverty is no joke, bro. The fires of poverty is no joke. You're going to have to work, get little to nothing, probably have to work for free, you know, and then you getting your ass beat, you know, and then you sleeping in barns, you sleeping outside, y'all all chained together. It's going to be bad for the elites. This is the payment that they got to pay. So especially for the elites that survived the nuclear day. They're going to survive just to go into slavery. That's what's going to happen. They're not going to die. They're going to survive to go into slavery. So it says, the pomp is brought down to the grave, and the noise of thy voice, the worms spread under thee, and the worms cover thee. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of morning? So that is not talking about the devil. It's not talking about Satan. It's talking about the white man going broke. It's going to be wonderful to see him fall and to see him crash and to see him lose the battle. He got to run and go into hiding. He want to blow up the earth and shit to try and stop Yahweh from finding him. He want to destroy everything. So if I can't have it, nobody can't have it. You know? And it says, how art thou cut down to the ground, who didst weak up the nations? For thou said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of Yahweh. And them stars is the children of Israel and the prophets, the elect, to be better than us, to try and overpower us, to be on top of us. So it says, I will also sit upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north, which is America, the highest point. So it says, I will ascend above the clouds. I will be like the Most High. So that's what he's trying to do with the mark of the beast, to ascend above the clouds. So it says, yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit. It says, they that see thee narrowly look upon thee and consider thee, saying, is this the man that made the earth to tremble, that did shake the kingdoms, that made the world as a wilderness and destroyed the cities thereof, that opened not the house of the prisoners? So he gonna be famous in the kingdom of, and then in the next kingdom, in the next life. Everybody gonna know that he's a criminal. And every single soul that was a part of them, that was born on their side and they race, when they born, everybody gonna know who they are. They're gonna know exactly who they are. He's gonna, in the next life, he's gonna be famous for trying to destroy the world. So it says all the kings of the nations and even all of them lie in glory. It says that made the world as a wilderness and destroyed the cities thereof, that opened not the house of his prisoners. It says all the kings of the nations, even all of them, lie in glory, everyone in his own house. It says, but thou art cast out of the grave like an abominable branch, meaning that the nations is not going to be destroyed. They're going to be in slavery, but they're not going to be obliterated. You know, they're going to still be there. But, you know, when it comes to the white people in America, America is going to be destroyed forever, not to be revived in the next life. And the white people are going to be destroyed or taken off the planet. The Bible does not explain what happens to them next. It just says what's going to happen to them, but not what's going to happen to them after everything is restored. So it says, but thou art cast out like a grave, like an abominable branch, and as a remnant of the house that are slain, thrust through with a sword, that go down to the stones of the pit as a carcass trodden under feet. They're not even going to get a grave. That's how angry the Lord is. They're going to go into slavery. The Lord going to slaughter them all, and they're not going to get a proper grave. You know, they're not going to get shit. They're not going to get shit. So this is what's coming to the wicked. You know, this is the price that they pay. This is what the Spirit of Yahweh is coming to collect. And that's one of them blood debts, man. So it says, thou shalt not be joined with them in burial, because thou hast destroyed thy land and slain thy people. The seed of the evildoers shall never be renowned. That's right. They even killed their own people. It says, prepare slaughter for his children for the iniquities of their fathers. Right. So that's exactly what the white people are fighting for, because they know if the Civil War is triggered, they got to fight against the Israelites. They got to go against Yahweh Shem Al-Shai's people. And they're going to be killed for what their forefathers did. They're going to be killed because the government is a part of their forefathers too. The secret society is a part of their forefathers too. And they're going to be killed and they're going to be slaughtered for something they did. Like I said, the children shall complain of an ungodly father, you know? And just because some of them are good and some of them are bad, they all are a part of that blood debt that their forefathers have made a deal with Yahweh with and cursed them. And that's what the rest of the lower Edomites is going to find out. Like, damn, you guys made a blood debt with the Lord and y'all cursed us. So now we cannot say that we are not a part of this inheritance. We're not a part of this full circle of debt and full circle of blessings. That you saying that we got our share, and you saying that we are part of this debt, and whether we are good or not, we all got to suffer. So that's what's going to happen. I wonder if that was long enough. I wonder how long would it take. It says, for I will rise up against them, says Yahweh of hosts, and cut off from them. It says Babylon, the name and the remnant, and the son and the grandson, says Yahweh, says the Lord. He's going to cut them all off. He's going to get rid of everybody. I will also make it a possession for the bitter and the pools of water. It says, and I will sweep with the broom of destruction. It says, and saith Yahweh of hosts. It says, the Lord of hosts have sworn, saying, surely as I have thought, so shall it come to pass, and as I have proposed, so shall it stand, that I will break the Assyrian in my land, meaning that amongst the children of Israel, because that is the land that the Lord is talking about. It says, and not only that, but in Israel too. And upon my mountains tread him underfoot. Then shall his yoke depart from off them, and his burden depart from off their shoulders. This is the purpose that is proposed upon the whole earth, and this is the hand that is stretched out upon all the nations. This shit about to get scary. The Lord is not playing. It says, for Yahweh of armies hath proposed, and who shall disannul it? And his hand hath stretched out, and who shall turn it back? Because they made a covenant with death. So what goes around comes around. And they got to pay that debt to death. And Yahweh is life and he death. And he gave the keys to life and death to Yahweh Shai. So he life and he death too. So it says, now that's it right there. That's it for now. But you know, that right there is not a joke. And that's a part of that's another thing, a part of the blood debt destruction. You know, besides the soul for a soul, you know, not even the soul for a soul, but the destruction of the bloodline. So that's what happened in the movie Inheritance. He tried to sacrifice his entire bloodline to save his life, but he ended up killing all his bloodline except for one descendant. And the spirit came and took him and took the whole family with him. But the black woman that was pregnant with her husband's child, they survived. But I'm just saying that whole example is of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai not just taking the elites, but all his children too. And then he gonna sweep the land, like he said, sweep the land with a broom of destruction. So all of this shit gonna be destroyed. All of this shit gotta go. When people think that these economic times are a problem, wait till the violence kick in, wait till the riots kick in, wait till the civil war take place. That's where it's going to get ugly at. Fuck the economic and the cash and the money and the jobs going. You know, in the eyes of the Israelites, this is another day to us because we done been going through this many times over. But in the eyes of the descendants of Edom, they starting to make their descent down into the pit and the descent down into hell, and it's not smooth for them. You know, it's real bumpy. This shit painful for them. You know, but at the same time, nigga, this is what's supposed to happen. You know, so to each his own. What goes around come around, and they gotta pay that debt, man. That's a lot, man. It's more than one to just the blood debt, but there's other bills and everything that they gotta pay the Lord. The Lord coming to collect, whether they ready or not. But right now, like the Lord said, I am long suffering. So he gave the elites time to prepare, and they still not ready enough for what's coming. And with that, calling Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, B'Shem Rakakadash, in the name Yahushai. Just another beautiful day, you know, just doing what I can, keep the faith, you know, stay focused on Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, all these plans that's happening, everything that's about to go down, stay focused on it, it's coming, you know, do everything in my power. I'm not fucking perfect, far from it, but I'm showing Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai that I love and I care for him, and I'm doing everything in my power to keep the faith. I acknowledge the new covenant as well, you know, and I love Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. I love my people, those of them that acknowledge the new covenant. And shalom to you, and on to the next video.